My friend Laura used to live in a massive 5-bedroom house out in the country. This house was built in 2007, but at the end of the garden was a famine bog. A lot of people who worked manual labour during the Irish famine in Ireland would work on wall construction, etc., and pass away from starvation and exhaustion. A famine bog is a pit where the bodies were thrown. Obviously it was covered over, and this is over 150 years later, but it has to do with the story. Anyway, there were always knocks and footsteps and random noises all over the house. The family went from being in denial at first to being perturbed and a bit freaked out to just accepting it. Apparently, there was a family of spirits who were haunting the house. A woman, a child, and a man. The woman and the child seemed to be okay, but it was the man that seemed to be causing a lot of problems, according to my friend. If there was any aggressive knocks or footsteps or noises around the house, it was believed that it was this man. Potentially spirits from the famine bog, who knows? But one day, in the first few weeks of them owning the house, there was a man in plastering the walls upstairs. When my friend's parents arrived home, they noticed that he wasn't there, but all his equipment was left. When they got in touch with him, he said that he was never coming back to the house because he turned around and, in his words, quote, there was a fella standing in the hallway upstairs. So he just dropped his stuff and ran. Another friend of mine, who would be quite sceptical about stuff like this, had been in the house several times and nothing had happened, until one day they were sitting at the kitchen table and he could hear footsteps outside the room. And then a knocking on the door. And then another knocking on the door, more aggressively. Laura just rolled her eyes and said, "Ah, yeah, that's that fella." They sold the house and moved out, not because of this now, they had gotten used to it, but they sold the house and moved out, and a husband and wife moved in. Doctors, fairly sceptical, believing in facts, not very spiritual, not very religious, and even they started to feel things in the house and hear things in the house. The house remains alone in the countryside now, with no one living in it. And it's been years since somebody has lived in the house.